Hi, everyone. I would like to begin with a short thought experiment. Imagine you're back from a volunteering activity in, let's say, the famous Bialik Rogozin School in the south of Tel Aviv, who has students from various backgrounds, including children of asylum seekers and temporary workers from the Philippines, Sudan, and Ghana. So you're going back to the university the next day, and you want to share your experience with your colleagues. What would you mention to them? Maybe you would talk about specific students you forged connections with. Maybe you would talk about the facilities of the school, the lighting, the noise. But would you mention how it smelled? I mean, we all know that schools smell, right? T-shirts after sports class, sandwiches long forgotten inside backpacks, aging bananas, sweat, socks. But I don't think you would mention the smells in this specific school. And I think I know why. It's because it's inappropriate to talk about smell in relation to underprivileged communities or in relation to social or ethnic difference. It's just not politically correct. And maybe that's okay. The cultural history of smell has tied together bad odors with wrongdoings and vice versa. Smell expresses stereotypes and racism. It makes sense you wouldn't want to mention it. It exposes us and our prejudices, no less than it exposes those who allegedly smell. So it's not PC to talk about smells. But even if we were rude and we did want to talk about smells, what could we say? What words could we use? When we want to describe how a person or a place looks like, we have so many options. And here you have a list. It's only of the categories of visual descriptions. So imagine how many words you have for that. It's lit, it's big, it's crowded, it's colored white, it's checkered, it's round. But when we want to describe a smell in the same nuanced, complex manner, we are left with a very dull vocabulary. Stinky, fragrant, foul, and these descriptions already contain a moral judgment, bad or good, fragrant or foul. So when we want to discuss about our olfactory experience, we are left with two very serious limitations of expression. First of all, it's not PC to talk about smells in this context. And second of all, we just don't have the words for it. Yet, smells are a very valuable part of our experience, and not only of our personal experience. They hold and deliver specific and complex information about places and about people, about things around us. They highly influence the way we interact with other people, and they contain loads of information that we normally either overlook or just accept as an undeniable truth. So, if we agree and acknowledge the importance of smell, what can we do facing these limitations? That's, my friends, where literature comes in. It's because literature can, and some even say should, talk about things that are not politically correct, things that are considered taboo or outside the social norm. And also, as the art of words, literature has its unique creative strategies of expressing things we would not be able to express otherwise. Literature can serve us here as a secret passage towards things that other forms of expressions wouldn't be able to deliver. So in my own research, I analyzed specific literary works from Hebrew and Italian literature that are both canonical, that means well-read, well-accepted in the public sphere of literature, that relate to social or political conflicts, and that have what I call meaningful smell moments in them. I analyzed 9 such literary texts, and I weave them together with smell theory from various disciplines and with literary interpretations. What I'm interested in exploring in this text are 2 main things. First of all, how does literature succeed to express smells? What are its creative strategies, and what can it teach us about creativity in language in general? And second of all, what can smell in literature tell us about social and political others? Smell has been traditionally used to define who's part of the collective and who's not, who's its other. I'm very interested in this process of othering and about how it affects our interactions with each other. And now, let me show you 2 quick examples from my research, from one of the materials I work with. It's from Amos Oz's first collections of stories written in the 1960s, stories that depict the interactions and conflicts between Jewish Israeli kibbutz members and communities of Bedouin nomads that gather around the kibbutzim. The first quote is from the story Nomad and Viper, and it depicts an encounter between the narrator, a kibbutz member, and a Bedouin nomad. Pay attention to how smell is used here as a violent means of communication. I will read in Hebrew, and you have the translation in English right below. ריחו הולם בך, אתה מהווה שפתיים. ההוויית פניך פועלת עליו כמו מכת אגרוף. So here we have an encounter that is composed solely of smell and the reaction to it. The narrator senses the smell of the Bedouin. It is so strong that it feels like it hits him. He makes a face, and the face that he makes is perceived by the Bedouin as no less than a punch. So first of all, we see that Oz overcomes the limitations of expression by using another sense, touch, to describe smells. But let's go back to the communication. Oz uses you and not me here. His smell hits you. So he's projecting this experience on the reader. He's generalizing it and basically forces us to reflect on this experience as well, an experience of disgust, shame, and mutual alienation. This pause for reflection offers more complexity and less judgment. It's really hard to judge both sides here. So it's less judgmental, but it is definitely not neutral. It's very clear who is the self and who is the other here. The power relations are not erased, but are nonetheless called for reflection and revision. Let's move on to the next example. Here, this is from the Steak collection, and here Oz describes the surroundings of the kibbutz as night falls. And pay attention to how smell becomes intertwined with an anxiety from this abstract other. אדמותינו בוגדות בנו מדי לילה. כעת אורכות חלקותינו אל כוחות השונא, והן משלחות בנו גלים של ריחות זרים. לנגד עינינו בלילה סומרות האדמות שלנו בנשיפת איום עוין. הקולות והריחות נוגעים באורנו בלילה, כאילו הם שן וציפורן. So here Oz gives us a glimpse of what usually stays hidden, a very deep sensation of anxiety, hostility, and it starts with a betrayal of the land that generates this hostility and anxiety, and then come foreign smells. And smells enhance this hostility and anxiety, and they make it tangible, so tangible that it feels almost like an attack, touch our skin like tooth and claw. So here we see again that Oz uses touch to describe smells. It is a very common technique. But pay attention that the smells here touch, but they don't bite. That is, there is violence here, but this violence is airy and light as smells are. So Oz offers us to enter into this inner mechanism of hostility and anxiety, but without the danger of even imagining being physically harmed. We can reflect on these heavy subjects without endangering ourselves or others. So these were just two very short examples, a whiff, if you'd like, of what smell in literature can reveal, both about literature's creative potential and about our encounters with others, our encounters with differences. And now I have to warn you and apologize, because from now on, every time you're going to read a literary text, you're going to see smells everywhere. Very welcome to email me when you do. And finally, I do invite you to reflect not only on smells in literature, but also on your own experience. When you sense a smell that is foreign to you, or even disgusting, if you can, take a step back and reflect on this experience. Ask yourselves, why is this smell foreign to me? In what way is it foreign to me? And how do I react to this foreignness? And I do hope that this pause will allow you, me, us, to encounter others and differences with less violence and more tolerance. Thank you.